Our first speaker will be Todd Corser, State Senate candidate.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here this morning. It's good to see all of you coming in this morning to find out a little bit about the candidates that are running for office. I am Todd Corser. I'm running for State Senate, and my campaign it started about a year and a half ago, and just moving in the direction. I felt like the party was moving, the Republican Party. I'm a part of the Republican Party. I felt the Republican Party was far too close to the center or to the other party to truly make the changes that were necessary for our state. I felt that it was spineless in its defense of liberty and freedom and in defense of private enterprise. And so my platform has been, and I'll just kind of list it down, is that we need to move as a state. We need to move in the direction of being a right-to-work state. We need to move in the direction of freedom and education. We need to move in the direction of a part-time legislature. We need to move in the direction of having more individual liberty and freedom. And the way that you do that is that you have to educate your children in the idea that the free markets is the best economic system in the world. And the United States of America is something to be treasured, it's something to be protected. And so for my campaign, what I've done is I've tried to focus on the idea that if we're going to actually grow as a nation and grow essentially as a state, that we have to have private enterprise. And the only way really to do that, the only way to make that happen, is if we cut back on the size and scope of government in our state. It's the only way that it's going to happen. See, we're not competing just against Mexico and China. We're competing against Alabama and South Carolina. We're competing against Texas, and Texas doesn't really have a business tax and doesn't have an income tax. So we have far too much government in this state that's unfunded. We have far too much that needs to be cut back at this point. So we need to move in the direction of making sure that we as a state are taking the cost-cutting measures that need to happen so that we can cut back on the weight that's on our private sector. If we don't do that, we're really not going to see job growth return here. So everybody, when they are running for office, they say, cut taxes, cut taxes, cut taxes. But nobody talks about the fact that we really need to move in the direction of cutting back on the size and scope of government. We have to do it. There are far too many people in overhead in our government system. Just to give you an example, our education system is one of the most expensive in the country. Far too much of a dollar gets eaten up between Lansing and the school than it does actually in the classroom. So we need to move in the direction of making sure that we as a state are doing the cost-cutting measures that are necessary in the public sector, and that will relieve the weight for the private sector and allow us to move in the direction of cutting back on the expense side of government. If we don't do that, we're not going to see liberty and freedom return to this state. It's just not going to happen. So that's really all I have to say this morning. Most of you already know who I am. I'm Todd Corser. I'm an attorney in town. I was an accountant first. I've been here pretty much my whole life, and it is awesome to be among the chamber this morning. I have to say that this is the spot where if there's going to be free enterprise, it is going to come because the members of the chamber are stepping forward and saying we are going to support candidates who are truly committed to the ideas and concepts of the free market. That's where it's got to start. So the government has been on the back of free enterprise in the state for far too long and has really destroyed our private sector. So I'll just yield the rest of my time. Thank you very much.